Hello, wonderful people. Coming to you today from not my office, but somebody's office, to talk a little bit about limiting beliefs. These are something that us coaches think about and talk about a lot. So if you've had a life coach or even a therapist, you might have heard of limiting beliefs. Or if you've worked with me, you've heard them called big assumptions. And they're something that are really natural. All of us do. We've got these, and they are assumptions about how the world works based on past experience. And the easiest example is like, as a kid, we all touch a hot stove or a hot something at some point, and we burn ourselves. And our brains are built to make an assumption that anytime we touch that type of thing, we'll get burned. And it does that so that we don't touch things that burn us. Right? So I don't walk around touching stoves, whether they're hot or not, because really early on I got burned, right? And that type of assumption doesn't affect my daily life. I'm not in the pit of despair because I don't touch ovens. So that's a belief or a big assumption that doesn't really matter. It's not limiting me. But there's also assumptions that were built in the same kind of way that do limit me. If I said the wrong thing at some point in my life to somebody that I was really, really in love with, or somebody I really respected, and they responded in a way that told me that I was wrong, I might build a big assumption that I should never say those types of things again. And that might work really well at that point in my life, but later on in my life, I might get told that I don't open up enough and that it damages my relationships. And I feel really lost because I don't know why I do this thing. And it's because I've got this limiting belief. And so one of the challenging things is to identify limiting beliefs. And so what I'd like to talk about today is kind of the first step in identifying them. So most of us are really good at kind of identifying what we want, identifying the behaviors that are getting in the way of what we want, right? I want to lose weight, so I need to go work out and eat less. And that's as far as most of us get. We build our New Year's resolutions off of changing behaviors, and it lasts a couple months, most of the time, and then it starts to fade, right? Because we didn't take care of the underlying stuff, those assumptions, those beliefs. And so the more powerful thing to do is go ahead and identify what you want. That's really awesome. You should still do that. Go ahead and identify the behaviors that you're doing or not doing that prevent you from getting what you want. That's awesome. We still do that. But instead of assuming that those are the things we change, I want you to take another step. And I want you to, for each behavior you do that prevents you from getting what you want, I want you to ask yourself, what am I worried would happen if I didn't do that behavior? So if I want to lose weight, and the behavior that's getting in the way is I don't wake up on time, right? Like I hit snooze. The question I ask myself is, what am I afraid would happen if I didn't hit snooze? And our brains will do some mental gymnastics here. They want to keep going the way they've been going. But if I ask myself that honestly, and often I use pen and paper because I think that's really useful for this type of work, what I might find is that I'm worried I won't get enough sleep. I've got this limiting belief that I have to get 9 hours of sleep in order to be healthy, and so I don't wake up early enough to go to the gym, and so I end up being overweight and not being healthy. And this type of limiting belief, this type of assumption is a really basic example, but you can see how it creates tension where the thing we want and the belief we hold prevent each other from ever being satisfied, right? I'll never get enough sleep because I'm worried about being fat. And I'll never stop being fat because I'm worried about not getting enough sleep. And this is really natural. This is what we do as humans. This is an evolutionary kind of mechanism. But identifying that limiting belief is the first step to overcoming it. Because then we can start to use the tools that we've got at our beck and call, right? We can run experiments on these. We can nail it, right? We can notice, accept, investigate, and let go. We can create some space between us and these limiting beliefs so that they don't run the show at a subconscious level, right? They're not what's happening when we're not paying attention. We can redefine our behavior and our thought patterns so that that belief doesn't run the show. And that's a really powerful place to be. So what I'd invite you to do today, take your pen and paper and identify the thing you want, the behaviors you're exhibiting that get in the way of getting what you want. And then for each of those behaviors, just ask yourself really honestly, what am I worried would happen if I didn't exhibit that behavior? What's the downside of trying to change that behavior? And my guess is you'll come up with some really interesting answers. If you've got any questions, or if you just want to share what came up for you, feel free to message me or comment below, or however you want, get a hold of me. I'm always thrilled to hear what this process is like for you. And with that, I wish you the absolute best of luck, and I look forward to talking to you again in another video.